Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my Pan That palette, pan in every palette, and just an all-around eyeshadow project pan. I can't remember the last time I filmed one of these. I have said in my Partners in Cream that I will be bringing out, I've already filmed it, after, it will go up after my project pan updates. It's a get ready with me as to, you know, a bit about what's going, why my updates are so far apart. But anyway, let's just get on into it and I'll do the best that I can with the information that I have. So the first product in here is my eyeshadow from Makeup Geek. It's in the shade Preppy, and I'll show you where I was the last time. It weighed 2.66 the last time, it now weighs 2.25. And she gone! She is gone! Now it took me 131 uses to finish it. I have used it, I'm going to assume I filmed the last one in July, so if my last update was filmed in July, then it took me another 24 uses to finish it, for a total of 131 uses. I am light-handed with eyeshadow. I just am, particularly with crease shades, and that's fine. But this was one of my oldest eyeshadows and it's gone. There was 1.8 grams in it. I said I used 131 times in this project to finish it. I had used it a lot before that time, so I would say it would have been over 200 uses to finish this, you know what I mean? Which is cool. Now I have another empty pan. That is now an empty. I won't roll in a single in its place until next year, so this is kind of like the finale of the single portion of my eyeshadow panning project until next year, because I won't make any finish progress in the next month or whatever it is, a little bit over a month, so we'll just leave that one. The next thing I've always had in is a matte cream once I finish the matte cream in my Pan That palette, and I actually rolled this in the last time, so let me just get the uses for this one. Anyway, this is the Norvina palette. I already had pan in the pink shade. This went from 191.17 down to 190.92, so, and I have no previous marking of measurements, so it must have been June that I filmed my last update. So that's actually quite a lot of progress. I have hit pan and nearly finished the matte cream. It took me 17 uses to hit pan in this shade, the base shade, and I've used it 39 times in total. I use it to set my eyelids, and I really like it. There's rust on this pan as well. I wasn't sure if there'd be rust in this ABH palette as well, but there appears to be, at least on that shade. I will have this, I'm confident I'll have this finished by the end of the year. I will, so I have to, I just have to. So that is the progress on this one. We have one empty so far, and a Juicy Lucy Floosy Juicy panule of the highest degree, because that's almost finished. So I'm really happy with that. So that's can go in my work bag because I'm going into the office, so I need to bring it with me. Although I would like not to be bringing so many palettes into work. It's a bit insane for me right now to be carrying that amount of things, because my commute is like nearly 2 hours to work each way. It's too much to carry. If I go really early, I can get there in an hour and a half in the morning, but it will be 2 hours and 10 minutes to get home. I don't know why I'm sharing that. The next portion of my eyeshadow, like panning palooza, what the hell do I call this, is my pan in every palette. However, I think I only had 2 shadows in for this, because I ended up, look what I ended up doing. This was my first pan in every palette, and I ended up turning this almost into a Pan That palette. I was only meant to hit pan in this, so I kind of derailed my own plans. It was just a wing it job. But this is the Sultry palette. I had rolled in the shade Teak. I had made a rule for myself that I really liked this shade, so I wasn't going to waste it at home, even though it's not a waste. Every day is a gift. You do you. But when I'm at home, I like to do crazy, colourful looks that I wouldn't do in the office, basically. And I wanted to use this for like nice occasions. So I wore this on my 30th birthday, and I wore it on holidays. And I hit pan in Teak, finally. It took me 17 uses to hit pan, and I used it 18 times. And it took me months to do it. I use it twice in March, 6 times in April. I did not use it in May or June. I use it 5 times in July, 2 times in August, and 3 times in September. because I really was firm. I always wanted to have progress to show in every update. And then I was just like, that's not real though. Then I'm just using it, and I really just wanted to use it organically when I wanted to. I've used all the shades in this palette. The most number of times is Birch for 23. The lowest is Bloom at 2. It averaged out around 9 or 13 per pan. And now this is rolling out. Woo! Success! Then we have the pan, that palette, and my camera is now screaming at me to be charged, so I hope to God I can finish recording this. Normally I do a side-by-side on photos to go through the uses. I do not, I'm just going to wing this because I didn't get a chance to look at what I have like in my arsenal to go with. But this is this palette here. I really like this palette. Did I say the weights on the, sorry, before I do that, I went up in weight on this, so I don't know what's going on, so ignore that. But Violet Voss, I went from 256.17 down to 255.16. So I used a good bit in terms of weight, but I have not seen, I did not look, so I don't know if I've hit pan in anything new. But what I will tell you is Hissy Fit is my current focus shade. I've just been reaching for that, so I'm going to hit pan in that next. That's like my next goal. Do I think I'll finish anything by the end of the year? No. But, like, considering my usage this year, I'm pretty happy with it. So let's go with Sugar. I'm going to go through the uses. I really don't know how long it's been, but it took me 46 uses to hit pan in it, and I've now used it a total of 106. If I filmed it in June, then I've used it 4 times in July, 5 times in August, 3 times in September, 8 times in October, and once in November so far. I use it as an inner corner shade. I use it as a highlighter. I've also used it mixed with these reddier tones. Press Pot I've started to use as a blush actually. What's the story with Press Pot? Hello Zuzu. I've used it 14 times, and I've used it 4 times since you've last seen it. Press Pot. It is a matte. The mattes are really, really hard. Like, there's not really any kick up either. Ragamuffin, I've started to use it as a blush as well. I've used it only 4 times in total. And I don't think I've used that since you've last seen it. Isn't that horrific? Larly, I think, was finished since the last time. So Tickled Pink, I've used 24 times. And I've used it 5 times since you've last seen it. There's pan on it. It's very intense. The formula of Violet Voss is actually lovely. I really like the formula of Violet Voss, so I really like this palette. I didn't say, this is the Violet Voss and Laura Lee one. It's after Tickled Pink, Hissy Fit, my current focus shade. I wore Hissy Fit to important situations. So anyway, Hissy Fit I've used 19 times, and I've used it 13 times since you've last seen it. I only recently started making it as a focus shade. Bitty, I used to love Bitty, but I just find it hard to wear. So I've only used it 3 times in total, and 1988 I've used 8 times in total, and I've used it I think 2 times since you've last seen it. Britches, I don't know if you can see, but there's a bit of a dip in it now, but judging by the other pans, I'm nowhere near pan. It is my focus, is that the shade Britches? Yeah, let me just see the uses. It's my focus matte crease shade. I've used it 47 times, and I have used it 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times since you've last seen it. And Fried, I've recently started to use within the crease, and I've used it 15 times, and I have used it 5 times since you've last seen it. Rammer Jammer, I don't think I've used that since you've last seen it. 8 uses in total. Oh, I have used it twice since you've last seen it. The Last Row Alabama, 4 times in total, and only once since you've last seen it. Whisker has a bit of disruption, and I've used it 25 times, and I've used it 5 times since you've last seen it. Bubs, down here I just tend to use this as a liner, and up here is when the middle of the pan is when I'm using it in my outer V. I've used it 25 times, and I have used it 5 times since you've last seen it. Smashly I haven't used since, 22 uses, and the black in Liu I've only used 3 times. So that is the status with this. There's been a lot of use, but I don't know if there's additional pan. But everything else was juicy, okay? Okay, consider the amount of uses on makeup I've had this year. I'm happy to have this, particularly when the mattes are so tough. I really, really want to franken this palette because I will be in the office more, and I really, in my circumstance anyway, I can't really wear these shades in the office as they are. They're too intense as in a colour or the green. So what I wanted to do was mix some of these shades, the 1988 and the Rammer Jammer, with Huda, because that's how I wear it anyway. I put this down and I put this on top to lighten it up a bit. And I also want to put some of Mama Bird, Press Pot and maybe Ragamuffin, a bit of it, into a larger pan, since I tend to wear it as a blush as well. I'd like to do that, but I wanted to film this before I considered doing that. And my goal is to hit pan on Hissy Fit. I'd love to have pan on Hissy Fit and Britches by the end of the year, but I don't think I'll have pan on Britches because it's just it's just not moving. But it's a really lovely formula. Now, before I roll in anything, I'm going to go through my figurey bit. So my pan in every palette, I had 11 palettes with pan out of 79 palettes, which was 13.92%. I now have 13 palettes with pan out of 84 palettes, so I've increased my palettes. So it must have been June, because for my birthday I got 2 eyeshadow palettes. I got 2 palettes for my birthday. I'm actually going to check what, oh no, I got 3. I'm going to check what palettes they were. I got the 2 palettes for my birthday. I bought one, that's 3, so 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. I'm missing one in my mind. But I haven't bought a palette in like 2 months, so I don't know. But anyway, I have now gone up to 15.4% of my palettes with pan, which is an increase of 1.55%. I'm very happy with that. I have no actual like set goal. Like I'd love all my palettes to have pan in it, but not for this year. I'm just tracking it. I'm just curious. So it is now time for me to roll in. So where are we? I'm still working on the matte cream. I finished the single, but I'm not rolling in something. I finished my pan in every palette, so I need to roll in something. And I shall continue to work on this. And this needs to go in my work bag. So now I actually need to decide what it is to roll in for my pan in every palette. So I'll be right back. My goal is always to no pan left behind, because I personally just hate the idea of only using one. So I need to use everything is the first goal, and hit pan in something. It won't be the matte cream because I'm working on a matte cream, and this colour here is just calling my bloody name. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm actually looking forward to this. This is exciting. Like, look at that shade Leaf. I don't know. And the new palettes that I've hit pan in, I've hit pan in 2 more palettes. I'll show you those. I know. So the first one is this Rose Quartz palette, and I hit shade in Lovestone. I wasn't even trying. It didn't take many uses, but this palette is absolutely beautiful. I'll film a close-up and I'll put it up on the screen. I hit pan in this today. Bonus pan in my Beauty Bay and Nikki Tutorials. I really like this palette, guys, in the shade Blend and Snap. So I'll film a close-up of this too. So that's the story with that. I'll film all the close-ups. If there's any looks, I know I've taken a few. I'll put them after this. I know this is a bit chaotic, but it is what it is. I'm actually really excited to use this Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay. I'd like to hit a pan in it by the end of the year. It's not that serious for me right now. I'm getting back into life. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you the next time. Take care. Bye.